Well, here we are. Good evening and welcome to the All Portable Discussion Zone. It's a bi-weekly live stream all about amateur radio portable ops. My name is Charlie and the call sign is November Juliet 7 Victor. With me this evening are the show's two co-hosts, Dan, KC7MSU, and Brian, W7JET. And I'm also pleased to introduce you to tonight's guest, Malen VE6VID. Maylan is Alberta's only the second GOAT in Alberta and the fourth in Canada overall, which is pretty cool. So he just achieved that last month, so we'll get back over to him in a minute. Of course, as always, we have the regular characters there in the chat room. Thank you for being with us. Make sure you put some comments in there. If you have any questions for Maylan or for us, go ahead and throw those in there and we'll try to address them as we go along through this evening. We are happy you could join us this evening, and so I think we have a great lineup with Maylan and a few other topics. So with that, let's do what we always do. Let's go around the squares here and see if we can see what's been going on the last few weeks. Let's start with Dan.
Okay. This past weekend, matter of fact, I just got back a couple hours ago from Flagstaff. We were up there enjoying the Valentine's Day weekend and got to drive around out on some of the major roads to see if any of the forest roads were open and see how much snow there really was out on the peaks. Hoping to get out maybe in the next week or 2 weeks up to Flag again and do a peek up that way. So good scouting trip. Got a little bit of snow and it was nice and cool up there. So it was a nice change of pace from the Valley of the Sun here.
Okay, cool. And then now let's go to Brian because we can hear him too now.
Okay, hey Charlie. So let's see. We had the epic climb of Kentuck Mountain last weekend. My feet still hurt. Sunburn has kind of faded out a little bit, but it was a good time. Logs, everything's in the log, and gotten a lot of compliments on the pictures from that activation, posting it, and as well as the video. So it was a good time had by all. And really, since then, I've just been kind of working on some shack projects and chasing Top Band DX on 160. That's about it.
Cool. And then for me, I've been like Brian mentioned, we did that activation of Kentuck, which it was a tough one, man. If you didn't see that video, man, there was some ridge lines we had to. It was like really narrow and drops off on both sides, and not to mention it was just every step where there was at least 5 rocks underneath our feet that It's like roller skates all the way up and all the way back. So it was fun. And then we had a pretty good live stream last week on the roundtable on SOTA roundtable thing. It was pretty good, and I'm planning on doing. I did an activation just yesterday as well up on Scarlet. Actually, I took somebody up to do an activation. I actually didn't get on the air, but that video is premiering tomorrow, and that one will be a good one too. So, Maylan, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've been just sort of hiding out from the cold weather. We're in a bit of a cold slump. Today was a high of minus 23 Celsius, so it's hiding from the cold, playing with antennas, trying to come up with something new to build.
A high of minus 20. Wow.
I plan on getting out this coming weekend. The temperatures are coming up to normal seasonal temperatures around minus 10, so it's gonna be better for traveling.
Yeah, cool. All right, so Maylan, before we get going into some of your SOTA stuff, let's just talk a little bit about you for a minute. What's your career? What have you been doing the last 20 or 30 years?
Well, I'm a retired Army Reserve sergeant, but I have a regular force pension, so I get a monthly pension. I'm currently working in aviation because I call it my semi-retirement job.
Oh.
And
what do you do in aviation?
I work at a flight operations base in Calgary at YYC. I'm just like a ramp, like they call us line service technicians.
Dang.
So
it was an outside or inside job?
It's outside.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. All right. Well, let's get going here. I think you sent us some slides, right? So let's hop into those and we'll get into that. Guys in the chat, if you have questions as we go, just let us know. I think I need to allow you to share here. Let me do that. Okay.
Okay, and I'll share the the summit ones first.
Okay.
And can you see that now?
Nothing's come up.
Doesn't look like we're sharing
Not yet.
screens.
See, it's not letting me allow picking a screen to share. Oops, there we go. Now it goes. There we go.
Okay, my name's Malen VE6VID. I became a ham about 2008, 2009. First earning my basic with honors, which in Canada means I had UHF, VHF, and HF up to 250 watts, but simply as a user, not as a inventor for like repeaters, building stuff. So shortly after that, I became a advanced. I wrote my advanced because I had a ICOM 703 that just needed a little bit more power. I wanted to build an amplifier, so I wrote my exam for advanced, and shortly after that, built about 100-watt amplifier for my 703.
Cool. So let me ask you real quick, Maylan. So it sounds like your licensing is quite a bit different from the United States. So do you go in and take your exam and hope to get a certain privilege, or is it just kind of whatever you get on the test is where they place you, or is it something else?
If you're under, I think it's 80%, you have VHF, UHF privileges. If you're over 80%, it's called basic with honors, and that gives you HF up to 250 watts.
Okay. And is there a fee of any type?
It's been a while, but I think it was a one-time fee. That's like an administration fee by the government.
Okay.
And so.
And what type of questions? Is it all multiple choice, or is it? How does the exam run?
They've changed the exam in the last couple of years. It's being done through Zoom with voluntary examiners, but it's 100-question multiple choice based on basic electronics, operating procedures, antennas, and of course the legislation behind it all.
Okay, good. So it sounds in some way similar. Cool. All right.
So anyhow, I started SOTA in May 2017 after activating several peaks, and I actually activated a manned fire lookout, and the guy says, well, there's a couple of guys here last week doing the same thing. So I started looking into it and reached out to a couple of the already guys from Calgary and did a double activation with the one. So, and in January, as you know, I became a mountain goat. It took me 219 peaks. My average points per peak was 4.6 points. So it took a while to get to where I am today.
Yeah, how does that compare? I mean, you said you've been here to Flagstaff, right, before?
Yes.
And so you've hiked a couple of the easier 10-pointers there in Flagstaff. How do the peaks compare? I mean, what's the? Just kind of give us a little comparison.
Well, Beacon Hill out by Williams, Flagstaff area. That's about 70 meters lower than a 2-pointer here in Alberta.
Okay.
Wow.
I've done a 4-pointer that was about 970 meters gain over about 5 kilometers one way, and that was a 4-pointer.
Yeah. So I guess needless to say, the point scheme is much different there in Canada and much more difficult. So when you reach mountain goat, you do it. It's saying something.
Yeah, and generally speaking, we have a small group of like hardcore activators in Alberta here. So if I would have gone out without telling them, I think they would have shot me in my tracks type of thing, because when I hit the trailhead, there's about already 6 or 8 people hiking up. Firewood, some good high quality scotch, snacks. So it's more of a party celebration than, well, it's still an activation, but it's a very nice way to make your gotum.
Okay, so you don't just go out there and do one real quick and then make it home in 4 or 5 hours.
Well, that was my mountain goat. Usually, I'm lately about 50% doing solo. So for me to get to the closest summit, it's like an 1.5-hour drive. And then Square Butte is about 45 minutes to an hour up. And, so that's, like I said, that one's a little bit taller than Beacon Hill.
Wow.
Definitely different terrain than what we have here.
Your terrain is nice. It's nice for a change, but it's all beautiful terrain in my opinion. That slide you're looking at is me operating up on Missing Link Mountain, which is a seasonal. The road's closed about 10 kilometers before it, so from mid-May to December, we can get to it, and it's about a 4-kilometer walk one way. I think it's about 300-meter elevation gain, so it's a nice little hike. You guys talk about bushwhacking, and I look at some of your terrain, and it's more deserty. Well, this is like Alberta bushwhacking. This is going through a area that had a forest fire about 4 to 5 years ago, and quite seriously, we're moving about 1 kilometer per hour for this activation.
Wow.
So it took a bit. That's me in October, if you can believe that, hiking up another fire lookout that's manned seasonally. What is it called? Carbondale Hill, down by Crow's Nest Pass, down very southern Alberta. It's only about maybe 50 miles north of the Montana-Canadian Alberta border. And that was just, you never know what you get into when you jump in the truck and drive for 2 hours before you go.
Yeah. So
do you do these in boots primarily, or do you also use other things like snowshoes or cross-country skis or anything?
I have, from about October to May, I have snowshoes in my truck, along with a bag full of like 3-ply Gore-Tex, spare layers, spare gloves. But all depends on what the snow level is. Just boots with gaiters on for today. Traction aids quite a bit, because I've had a couple of pretty good falls on ice underneath the snow, so it's handy to have traction aids.
Yeah, apparently you must know David Seymour. He says, ask Maylan if we need snowshoes. It's David. I have a shortcut.
First of all, his shortcuts aren't short. And David is my hiker partner who just got licensed in December. So it should be it's going to be a bushwhack. It's going to be deeper than that, but it's going to be too steep for snowshoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let me advance this one. No, it's not advancing.
Is that it on that one?
Should be one more or two.
I think there's 2 more slides for it.
All right.
Maybe you have to unshare and reshare, or just close it down and.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
You're talking about ridge walks. This is on the left, upper left is the ridge walk up to Windy Peak. I've been like, the wind's actually picked me up and throwing me about 15, 20 feet wind gust. So it's, this is a 4-pointer down south of, about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of me. It's a nice little walk once you get through the swamp. That was in July, that first picture. The second picture with me kneeling with the SOTA flag was in October, this past fall. And that flag was standing out like that. Was just not that's normal wind for that peak.
Wow. The summer picture looks a lot more inviting. It's a great looking ridge line.
It is. Once you get above the tree line, it's a very nice hike up to the summit. This is a Square Butte. This is where my a couple pictures are from the mountain goat day, but the main one was my first activation of Square Butte. This is a popular hiking trail, and a lot of horses go up there. I was sitting there activating, and I could, you get this feeling of something's behind you. I turn around and look, and there's a snout from a horse. The rider snuck up behind me, and his girlfriend's back a bit, and she goes, "If he jumps up and punches you, I don't blame him." And I just sort of laughed. But the upper right picture is me activating on my mountain goat day. And the lower picture is David Seymour VE6 DTS and myself having a snack and sharing a little bit of scotch.
Cool. So, two questions. One from me, first of all. Somebody said in here, it looks like bear country, so that brought up the question for me. Do you guys carry protection of any type? I'm sure there's brown bears up in that area.
No, we have grizzlies and black bear. Between the two, well, you have to respect both of them, but between the two, I really am scared of black bear.
Oh.
Generally speaking, black bear will attack you to eat you, while grizzlies will attack you if you violate their personal space.
Yeah.
So I carry bear spray year round. The only time it comes off my pack is just to check, make sure it's still serviceable. And also in certain areas, I carry bear bangers as well.
What are those?
They're like the little pin flares you can shoot up for this. It's similar to that, but it only goes up about maybe 30 feet and there's a big bang. Sounds like a shotgun going off above you.
Okay, cool.
Huh, never heard of those. Interesting.
They're illegal in the States. I had to throw some out when we were going down to Arizona a year and a half ago. I got to the border. I realized that they're still with me, so I just tossed them.
All right, so Al Cricker, it's K7ULM, says, "Hey Maylan, do you have a lot of chasers? I don't think I've ever had a chance to log you."
Sometimes, like, the weather changes so much, so if I'm up on the summit a little bit too long, 15, 20, maybe 30. After about 13 to 1400 hours local time, which is Mountain Standard Time, the weather can change fairly quick. So I, generally speaking, try to get off the summit before 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, but I'm all voice. I'm all sideband. Okay. I haven't mastered the. That's one of my objectives for the future.
Yeah. How's that? I mean, have you started that yet, or it's just kind of a goal you're going to look forward to here?
I'm stuck at it about. Last time I practiced it was 7 words per minute, or 7 characters, I should say, at 15 words per minute.
Okay. I think that, okay, so Smoke Signals RF, that's Izzo, who's going to be a guest here in about a month. He says, what antennas do you use? I think that's coming up a little bit later, Izzo. So if he doesn't answer the question for you, then let us know. And also he wants to know about power sources too. So let's make sure we cover those if you don't get to them.
Okay.
All right, I got another.
Okay, this is a picture of my KX2. This is my first SOTA activation kit. On the left, that green bag is about a 9-foot long avalanche probe, aluminum avalanche probe that I use for a mast. I've always used 4-cell LiPo batteries. So there's a voltage reducer, earbuds, 174 coax, and a resonant dipole for 20 meters made of field foam wire, which is a stainless steel copper wire blend. And it's very can take the abuse, but you can't really coil it up on a winder. If you do, it has memory, and you can't straighten it out after. So that's my first setup. This is what I'm using now. Same KX2. The first setup was about 5.5 pounds. This one's down to about just below 3 pounds. Up top is a infed half wave for 20 meters. Same type of battery, a 2200 milliamp hour 4-cell LiPo. The cable beside it with the blue box on it is has 2 diodes inside it, so I can switch it. So when you use a 4-cell, it's too much voltage to start with the KX2. So I switch the diodes in. Once the battery gets down, I switch them out. Earbuds, a external speaker, and that thing coiled up is a microphone from an old, I think it was an old Bofeng and radio I picked up someplace, and it all fits into that water bottle carrying case designed for like an Nalgene 1-liter bottle. So that's my primary setup right now.
Cool. Have you weighed it? Do you know how much it weighs?
Just below 3 pounds is like 1,300 some odd grams.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm getting down in weight bit by bit.
Do you? I noticed you. So you have the cover, and it looks like you have the side mounts and the
Right.
and stuff on your KX2. Have you ever had any problems with yours overheating or?
I did the first summer I was doing it. I actually had it overheat a couple times, and it simply resolved. I just put it in the shade. But I thought when I was getting the cover and the the end pieces, just to get the proper one with the heat sink built in.
Nice.
On the left is when for the longest time, 12 watts wasn't good enough. Sometimes 20 watts wasn't good enough. So that's one of those little Chinese amplifiers, 50 watt. I go with a pouch system for packing stuff. So that's another, that's like a tactical water bottle case. It carries the amplifier, all the extra fittings, the chunk of coax, and I carry another spare power cable. On the right is I think that's a 4,000 milliamp hour 4-cell LiPo that I use to run it again with a automatic voltage reducer.
Okay. So let's see, Scout 75. I think that's if I remember right, that's Shane. He says, how long are your typical hikes from the trailhead to the summit? How far is your average drive to the trailhead from your home? So you just obviously you can't do the math, and you just give a rough estimate of what the average is for, and then maybe tell us what your longest has been.
My my average drive is 2 hours one way, and the average hike, it varies. I've done like a 10-12 kilometer hike one way, which is about 6 miles, so a couple hours. I think the one I did last summer, Mount Burke, over 900-meter elevation gain, that was both the longest one because I was just by myself. It was over 30 degrees Celsius, so I was just trying to conserve energy and be cautious about not injuring myself. I think that was it.
Yeah.
This is some of the masts different use. On the left is a couple of the fishing pole ground holders. If it's a short hike, instead of taking out guide ropes and strings and pegs and that, I just take one of those and plunk the bottom of the mast into it, and I let my antenna keep the mast upright. And then Dan, I think you know what the first mast is there.
Yes, much lighter.
The carbon 6. The next one is the SOTA beams fiberglass 14-foot mast. It's lighter, but it's not as tall. The next one is, it would start off as a 10-meter carbon fiber fishing pole, but it's down to about 8 meters now. Then this SOTA Beams Tactical Mini, and then on the right is the my notorious avalanche probe that spends more time as a mast than it does as a probe.
So Bob, AC1Z, who we had on as a guest, I don't know, about a month ago, really great. It was a really great interview. He says that he's had 25 chaser contacts and 10 summit to summits with you.
Yes, yeah. He's one of my between well, Martha and Gary are up there, I think, the top of my list, but Bob is very close to them for being one of my constant contacts.
Cool. And that's kind of a ways too, because he's over in the northeast of United States. That's quite a haul.
Yes, yeah. Quite lately, just 12 watts. He's been giving me like a 3.3 type of signal report, but still, I'm not carrying that extra kilo and a half of amplifier and battery, so it's, it weighs itself out.
Yeah.
The top antenna is a
got some traps on it.
2040 trap dipole. I'm just trying to remember the name of the QRB kits. No, let me look. I have it here someplace. Still looking. Yeah, it's a QRP kits 2040 trap dipole. That was my first trap dipole for 2040, and it's been repaired a few times, but it's still going strong, and I still use it on summits where I need definitely to put up a mast. if it's a treat or I got a bush or something, I don't use it. The bottom left is a 20-meter dipole for the avalanche probe and the 14-footer fiberglass mast, and on the right is a 20-meter dipole for the SOTA beams carbon 6. My infids. Last year I've been playing around with infids, and I've had some really some luck, some not so lucky adventures. The top upper left is a 20-meter half-wave infid that tunes 15 sort of and tunes 10. I made it myself. It's got a FT82-43 toroid in it. Upper right is bigger brother, the 40-meter, which tunes more than I expected. I can get it down to like a 2.5 on 17 meters, and it down to about a 2.5 to 3 as well on a 12, as long as as well as 20, 15, and 10. The bottom left one is one of those experiments that didn't work out too well. First of all, the wire, I call that wire devil's hair because it's so small and gets tangled up on stuff. And
yeah, what's the gauge?
It's the 26 gauge poly stealth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good stuff. But yeah, it does get tangled, doesn't it?
The reason why I call it devil's wire is because I'm cursing like a devil when I get it all tangled up. And the one on the right is the my go-to for the amplifier. Is resonant on 40, 20, 15, and 10, and it seems to handle the 40-50 watts very well. And again, that's another homemade contraption.
Cool. So I have a few questions on these antennas. The first one is the simple question, and that is: are these kite string winders? And if they are, where'd you order them from?
They are kite string winders from SOTA beams, except for no, they're all SOTA beams, I think.
Okay, so SOTA beams. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the other thing is you've got your transformers. Each of them have a transformer. The two blue ones in the top, are those? Are any of these homebrew, or are all of them homebrew, or what's the?
They're all homebrew. I've been magnet wire is cheap, so I just if it's cold out, I just crank up a couple of transformers and test them and say, well, that didn't work, and try something else.
Cool.
The two top ones actually have a chassis mounted male BNC, so there's no coax, goes right onto the radio, so I don't need a coax for it, and it seems to work out well with the KX2.
That's pretty cool. No feed line needed, huh?
No.
That's cool. And those
Nice.
blue boxes. So where did you get those blue boxes? What are they?
They're just from I ordered them from DigiKey.
Okay.
Same with the male BNC chassis mount connectors.
Cool. All right. I think that's all the questions I have. We'll see what else is in the chat room here as we go along.
Okay. The picture on the left is what I carry on the outside of my pack. Thermometer, multi-tool, tick remover, a inReach, my HT, bear spray. I hang off my my shoulder harness off the webbing, so it's down underneath my armpit. I can reach it very fast. On the right and on the left, I hang a SIG insulated bottle carrier, and I just carry like a simple bicycle type water bottle for fluids on the move. On the right is everything that I basically carry inside the main compartment. The piece up top is actually like a windshield reflector. It's reflective on both sides and has a thin amount of insulation in it, so it doubles as a splint, a seating pad. I've actually slept on it once. Then I carry like a more power bars, first aid kit, survival kit, space blankets. You can see my extended double zap is always in the bag, along with a chunk of coax. And
I was just going to ask you, speaking of the extended double zap on the right and the radio on the left, tell us about your, if you weren't planning on it, tell us about your FM, your 2-meter FM, or basically your UHF VHF contacts. How many do you get? How reliable is that?
I've actually had summits where I've gone up and just said, I also carry the MFJ Long Ranger, the half wave infrared collapsible, but I've had times where it wasn't performing, so I got the extended double zap out. My furthest contact was 272 kilometers, which is about 170 miles,
Wow.
right around roughly. My normal contacts with the MFJ or the extended double zap is usually 60 to 100 miles.
Hmm.
I don't. Sometimes I go up, and if I can activate VHF, I activate VHF, and have a snack and go home type of thing. But if the weather's good, I'll just head out with set up my HF as well and activate with HF.
Hmm.
On the left is everything in my top pocket of my pack: sunscreen, glasses, a survival bivy bag, headlamp, spare key to the truck, compass. The stuff you need, you might need real quick is there. On the right is the stuff I carry in my truck pretty well year round. 3-ply Gore-Tex uppers, lowers, insulated shell, soft shell, tarp, another bivy bag, a solid fuel stove, spare gloves, stuff like that. So that's
Well,
what I carry pretty.
have you used a bivy bag before on a summit?
Have I used it? No, I have a bothy bag as well.
I mean bothy bag. That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Yes, it's in my pack all the time. Though it's that green pouch,
Uh-huh.
and I find it really it really gets warm fast, and it gets you out of the wind. I'm not sure about you, but I know my hands get a little bit finicky after getting quite cold. So
Oh yeah, I think all of us here have experienced that.
Especially doing CW.
Yep.
It looks like your gear, especially this thing on the right. All the clothes and the gloves and the hats. Believe it or not, I actually do the same thing. I have a duffel bag, and I keep rain gear in it, and I keep warm clothes in it, and a beanie and all that stuff like that. Even in the summertime, I switch it out. I don't carry the snow pants in there in the summer, and I switch it out for like a few other things. But for the most part, yeah, year round I do too as well, because sometimes the weather, even in Arizona, it's not like there obviously, but you'll get a thunderstorm or something like that, and the temperature can change really quick. So I do kind of the same thing, keep it in my truck, and then I always have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've started to do the same thing because it's always nice, when you get to the base of the mountain, you can kind of take one last look at the weather and then decide, hey, do I need to take a hat or a pair of gloves with me today or not? So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wool hat and gloves are a must. They're always in my bag, and I even keep in the summer months. I have a pair of rain pants that I keep in the bag to give for the legs in case I get stuck out overnight or something, just to add some more insulation.
It's pretty easy to get yourself into a situation where you don't want to be, and it's good to have the stuff to make it out alive, type of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's the weather change, especially get to be around August or something. You could just about bet you could get caught in a cold situation pretty easily there.
We had one May, a year and a half ago, so May 2019. Myself and another activator were activating one of the summits. Nice sunny, about 6-7 degrees Celsius at home. Hit the trailhead, there's snow, got up on top of the summit, and we had to put all that stuff on just to stay warm. It was about a foot of fresh snow.
Wow.
So
that's pretty extreme.
Yeah. Well, if it does get snowing in early May here, it does happen.
Yep.
Yeah. If you haven't figured out yet, I like to play around with antennas because it's a cheap, fun pastime, and all the other SOTA activators in Alberta pretty well benefited from my playing. So if you can just start going through it, please, Dan.
I had a quick question. So when you are playing with new antennas and toroids and stuff, what do you like to use to test with? your designs and your assembly?
I have two rig expert antenna analyzers. One is the stick, which is more geared for going up on mountains, and I got the AA230 zoom. So I like to, actually get them outside and in the side yard and actually test them first that way, and then if they work better, then take them up on a summit during an activation and test it.
Great.
This is a 2-element VHF I made. The elements are actually a TIG aluminum rod, because you can buy a pound of TIG rod for about $10-12 for us, and it's just all put together with banana clips, banana plugs, and that, and it works well. But this I found works about the same as an extended double zap. So in my mind, why carry all the extra weight and fit around with it? Just I try to keep my activation simple. So the top picture is it assembled, ready to use. The bottom picture is it and packed up in the carrying transport position. So
yeah, banana jacks and banana clips are a good way to do that. Quick and easy to assemble and disassemble, and they conduct well and everything. I mean, they're used in test gear all the time, so that's a good way to put them together.
I find it's very inexpensive. I was looking for a cheap way too, so I don't spend too much money on a project. Charlie, that should look familiar, the upper one.
It does.
That I was just bored, and it's like, I think everyone that wanted an extended double zap has one from around the Alberta area. So it's like, well, I'll just make one for Charlie and send it down to him, see what he thinks of it.
Yeah.
And
I gotta tell you, I love it. I was so appreciative that you offered, and when it came in the mail, I was so impressed with like I was telling you earlier, so impressed with the craftsmanship. It was very well made, and I didn't realize how much gain those things have. They're great.
I see my first one, like that link I sent you, recommends a 1-to-1 balun. So I made one with a 1-to-1 balun. Well, that defeats the purpose, or the thoughts of something quick, light, and easy to pack. So I tried to have it end fed from the bottom, just having the ladder line as like a tuning snub, and it had the same on-air test, about the same as a rubber duck. So it's like I scrapped it for a while, and then Adam K6ARK, I saw him mentioning it, so I said, "Did you?" I looked at his video. Then I said, "Did you feed it from the center?" He goes, "Yeah." So I tried it from the center with no balun. I had to adjust the length of the window, the ladder line a little bit, but they seem to work out very well after that.
Yeah, Adam mentioned it. Well, first of all, I used it on the last activation there we were talking about with Brian on Kentuck. I put it out there, so check out that video if you want to see it in action. But yeah, it worked out great. And then Adam, he was in the chat and he said, "Hey, do you know where Maylan got his plans from, or where he got his design?" And of course I didn't know, but I reached out to you and later told him that it was partly his design and partly just from measurements off of Western Mountain, right?
Right, off Western Mountain, bro. What I found, when you take the balun off, I start with the wires about 6 inches longer, and keep on trimming them back until I get resonance for it.
Cool.
The bottom 3 pictures are, the bottom left one is just like, that's totally from Adam. I made one that's a 49, well, actually about 64-to-1 transformer fixed to a BNC. I made one for one of our only CW activator last summer. He liked it, and over Christmas time, it's like, well, okay, I made one. Maybe it was a fluke. Maybe I better make another one. So I made it. It's like, okay, what am I going to do with it now? And then I started researching traps, and I've looked at Adam's video, and I looked at a couple other websites, and so there's bottom left is a 64-to-1. Center is a 20-meter trap, and the right is a 30-meter trap. So I had some of that devil's hair left over, so I made up and tuned everything up. And then my analyzer didn't like -18 weather, so I said, "The heck with it. My hands are cold." I wrapped it up and sent it off someplace warmer.
That's pretty cool.
That's my current project. That is a type FT43 transformer that I'm going to hopefully get on the end of a BNC connector. I've read reports where that transformer is good enough for handling 20 watts sideband. So I'm thinking, hopefully 12 watts of my KX2 will work out well. I got enough of the devil's hair again to have a simple, super lightweight 20-meter in-fed half wave. So that's my second attempt at trying to get it onto a BNC connector. So that's an ongoing struggle.
Do you remember off the top of your head what kind of toroid that is?
They don't specify, like it's not like an FT whatever. I got the dimensions. It's got through DigiKey. It's like $1.05 a piece, so
Okay.
they're cheap. So it's
Okay.
It's about a ½ inch long, about 9/16 outside diameter, and 3/8 inside diameter. If you want, Charlie, I can send you the.
Yeah.
I think it's a Fair-Rite toroid, so they're a fairly common company.
Okay.
So I'll send you the DigiKey link after.
Sure.
Okay. That's the end of the slides with that one.
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's all the slides. Cool. All right. Well, we have what, 45 minutes left. I mean 15 minutes left. We went 45 minutes. So
Oh, jeez.
let me. Oh no, that's good. That's great. I was really enjoying it. So let's let Brian and Dan ask any follow-up questions in the chat room, and then I have a few other things. So let's go with it.
So, Maylan, you were saying you work at the FBO there in Calgary. Do you see any wheels up planes come through?
No.
Okay.
There's 5 FBOs there, so.
Oh, okay. I've only been into Calgary once with work, but wondering if I'll get to run into you someday when I do go through there, because I fly for Wheels Up. We got the blue and white tailed airplanes. We're a private company.
Right. Our FBO, like we're a 24/7 organization, so the reason why we're the only one in Calgary is 24/7 because we have 2 air ambulance helicopters.
Okay.
On permanent standby. So.
Yeah, we usually, when we go into like Ontario or some of the airports out east, we usually go to Sky Service over there.
They're right across the field from us.
Okay, that's probably where we're going there then. It's been a number of years since I've been there.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you'd been down to Arizona for a couple of summits on the air activations. Have you been other places in the U.S. for activations as well?
A couple of spots in Montana so far. We were going to head down last fall for a month, but COVID sort of canceled that plan. I've been well, since we're on the prairies, I've been over to almost a day drive to Manitoba. Myself and another activator, Ken, we drove over, activated. We bicycled about 9.5 kilometers one way, activated a summit, bicycle back out, load the bikes up, drove another hour to the next summit, camped for the night, activated it, and 2 more that day, and drove almost back home again. So it would have been like a 48-hour round trip.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was looking at SOTA as well, I noticed I was looking in your area, and you're right close to the spine of the mountains there, and it's amazing the number of SOTA peaks that are there. So it's you can really imagine why the terrain is so much higher there and vastly different than it is here in Arizona. But I would imagine probably late spring, early summer is probably the best time up there as far as weather wise and views and stuff.
Pretty much so. Like if you're gonna come up, try to get up on the summit 11:30, 12 o'clock, and by 2 o'clock, if you're not off, you might get the afternoon weather picking up and blowing you off, type of thing.
Yeah, we get that, and especially like in the Flagstaff area and stuff like that during monsoon season. You want to be off the mountain by around 1 o'clock. You're liable to see a lot more activity than what you want. But And we also have a lot of fires and stuff down here. How's that up in your neck of the woods up there?
We have fires, but not that bad. We get a lot of smoke from other areas. 3 years ago, it was actually bad to a point where they're given air quality advisories not going outside. It's upper northwest of the U.S., lower British Columbia mainland, that area, all the smoke blowing towards us.
Yeah, quick one. How does land access work up there with the different plots? Private, public, I'm assuming the provincial and national parks. How do those all work there?
In Alberta, we're fortunate. Most of the mountains are either national or provincial, either preserves or parks. There is a few that are on reserve land, so we just don't even bother with that. But we're very fortunate compared to other locations for that.
Any kind of special permits required for any of the mountains, or is it pretty much just stay on the trail or find your way up to the top? How does the navigation work?
There's a series of hiking books that all the maps are online, so we can download the map and try to follow the trail. I've bushwhacked quite a bit, along with a couple other activators, but overall, it's like I said, we've been very fortunate for access and getting into places.
Cool. All right. Well, we got about 8-9 minutes left. Let me go over a couple things here. Let me do this one. You guys hopefully can see that. It'll come up in just a minute. There's kind of a delay, so you won't see it for a second, but with you guys in the chat anyway won't. I mean, not in the chat. You guys in the Zoom. But this is a website for KB1HQS. He's the amateur radio operator in back east who just barely got his goat, and so we want to congratulate him. He does a lot of great things for not only for ham radio in general. He's wrote a book and he's worked with the ARRL on a few things, but he's also great with SOTA. And so this is his website. I actually am probably going to try to get him on here sometime soon and talk to him as well. But just congratulations to him. And so we'll move that back off from you guys. The other thing is, I wanted to ask you, Maylan, what's your favorite peak?
Comes down to two: Square Butte and also another one called Hailstone Butte. When I get visitors from Ontario out, I take them up Hailstone Butte. It's about a mile hike with about 1,000 feet. I guess you're about 330, 400 meter, 340 meter, I should say, elevation gain, and it's got really good views of the Rockies to the west and the prairies to the east.
Cool.
Nice. I was kind of curious, and we like to ask this question quite often, but for people who are just beginning, just got their ham radio license and they kind of seen this SOTA thing a little bit, what would you suggest would be the first thing to do, or the most important thing to know about SOTA to get started with?
I would say don't rush out and buy a whole bunch of gear. If you can, just go out with another activator and watch them, and possibly use their gear, and basically go from there. And buy once, buy wisely type of thing.
So, that's good, great advice. I went out and I bought a bunch of gear right away, so I was lugging an 857 up for several years, and I kind of wish that I would have went out with Brian and Charlie and stuff before I actually purchased gear, and I probably would have made a little bit different choices. Not that my choices were necessarily bad; they worked out fine, for the time I was using them. But it's always good to experience different types of equipment and see what's out there, and then you can kind of decide what you like and what fits your style of operation best.
Definitely, yeah.
So Maylan, you may or may not know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it. Since you have kind of experience in it. So if I, an American, were to go to meet up with you in Canada and do a joint activation with you, what would I have to do as far? I'm an amateur extra here in the United States. So what would I have to do to ensure that I activated legally?
For Hammerito wise, like Canada, US has a basically we'll see your qualifications. So you just have to use a suffix to what province you're in.
So we have that reciprocity agreement of sorts, and
Yes.
and so I would have to make sure I put a suffix on something on the end of my call sign, the province, I guess you said.
Yes, or is it in front? It's either front or behind. I'll have to double
Okay.
check this. You know,
Probably
It's
we
usually
haven't-
in front. At least that's my experience over in Europe. We got to put it on the front side.
Yeah, so it'd be like VE6/NJ7V/P, probably, right?
right.
And do you have to use the in Canada? Do you have to put the stroke P on the end, or is it optional like it is here in the United States?
Legally, I think it's there, but not too many people use it. I personally don't use it because I find with the SOTA watch sometimes you're up on top of the mountain trying to plug it into your phone and I have a tendency to forget about it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think we're getting close to time. We lost a little bit of time on the front end because of my faux pas with the audio stuff. Sorry about that, guys. But we're getting pretty close. Let's. Is there anything else, Dan or Brian, that you want to ask or go over, even if it's an unrelated topic here, real quick?
I actually do, since we were kind of chatting about this earlier. What's your common frequency that you use in Canada for VHF FM calling?
146.52.
Okay.
You want to go ahead, Brian, and talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I guess this would be more for the chat. For everybody that's watching, throw in the chat what you guys commonly use. We're kind of experimenting with some ideas out here to expand our spectrum a little bit, and we've seen some posts in social media about 14658 becoming a thing. So what are you guys using? Go ahead and throw it in the chat and let us know. Yeah,
because I don't know about you guys in Canada, or in other parts of the country, but I really think it's a good idea. Some people are for it, some against it. But this, what is it? The adventure frequency they call it, or something like that.
Yeah, that seems to be the phrase that's been coined when I do see the posts about it on social media. Yeah,
the point is to kind of move off of 146.520, which is the national calling frequency, and have a frequency that's kind of like we do on HF, that's kind of known for SOTA or portable ops. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, throw that in there, and then let me just go ahead and go over a few more things before we wrap it up. I did congratulate Stu, and so we'll try to get him on here sometime soon. Coming up for me is Harquahala Mountain. I'm going to go ahead and go with Alex. He's a I wouldn't call him a good friend, but an acquaintance at least. And we're gonna do that. He's in the Jeep club here in the Phoenix area, and so that summit I think requires a Jeep. So I'm gonna hop in with him, and he's gonna take me up there, and we're gonna activate that. I think this Friday, and then following that, the following weekend, I'm gonna go out with the Tech Prepper. You can look up his YouTube channel. He and I are gonna do a joint activation up in Flagstaff somewhere. And the next. All portable discussion zone, which is in 2 weeks, 5 o'clock Mountain Standard, same every 2 weeks right here. The next episode is going to be about batteries, in particular, hopefully portable ops batteries, but not necessarily just exclusively about that. We have 2 guests coming on. One of them is Dennis. You probably know him, 86DM from Handom Thoughts, and he's actually going to record his podcast simultaneously as we're doing this episode. And we're also going to have on Mike, K8MRD. He's from K8MRD Radio Stuff. You probably know him well. He's the guy that's always out doing parks on the air. So they'll both be on as our guests as we talk about batteries in 2 weeks, 5 p.m. So I hope you can join us for that. Last thing, I have ordered a bunch of stickers, and I've done that to kind of get you guys maybe to help out a little bit with the channel to make sure we keep the YouTube channel ad free. So it's kind of a thing where if you can donate $2 to $3, actually I think I put it at $3 or more at some point, then we'll send you a sticker. It's just a way, instead of getting those ads that we get on YouTube, I'm going to avoid that if I can all possible. So it's a different way to make sure that we can keep this channel ad free. So check that out in the notes on my videos. And with that, let's go around real quick and let everybody else kind of let us know what you guys got coming up, and say your goodbyes, and then we'll end this thing. So let's go with Dan.
All right. Hopefully planning for this coming up weekend, I'm going to do a quick local summit, Usery Mountain. So I got a new antenna mast here to try out. So I'm anxious to get that out on a mountain and give that a whirl.
Okay. Brian?
Let's see. I've got hopefully my final appointment with the orthopedic surgeon on Tuesday, and we'll be released back to normal operation after that, even though I've been kind of trucking along as is. And I'm going to try and get on a summit this week and keep chasing that top band DX while I'm sitting at home in between chasing activators during the day.
Cool. All right. And Maylan, we really appreciate you coming. And I'm sure the people in the chat enjoy it as well, and there'll be people watching later. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this, coming on. I've really enjoyed our discussion. It's been great. And so any last parting thoughts from you?
Nope. Thank you very much for having me, and hopefully we can get some more people involved in SOTA, regardless of where they are.
Good enough.
Absolutely.
All right, I agree with that. Okay, everybody in the chat, we appreciate you guys being here as well. We'll catch you guys all later. You guys who are watching later on, thank you for coming and visiting. And so we'll see you in 2 weeks right here. Thank you, everybody. 73.
73.
Bye, everybody.